Hi, this is Steve Spanoudis coming to you from Coral Springs, Florida. Thank you to Kai Coggin for continuing the online forum every month, this being for the August edition. And hello to the Wednesday Night Poetry community. I have missed your contributions and look forward to listening to them. Since we don't have a specific subject this month, I have several poems that don't really fit into easy boxes. So this one, as yet uncollected, is titled The Geometry of Our Monsters. I went for a long walk this evening, 5 miles through woods and meadows and wetlands. The trail was good. There were deer and rabbits, hawks, bees, red-winged blackbirds, and river otters. Plenty to see and keep my eyes and ears entertained and melt away the miles trod by my feet. But the lasting image, strangely, was something else. A line of impossibly delicate-looking electrical towers, 100 feet tall, with high-tension power lines strung in long, curving arcs overhead, to the next tower and the next, seemingly to infinity and beyond. As an engineer, I admired their elegantly contrived structure of triangles perched upon triangles, their hexapodal arms spread straight out from their sides, like the exercise in which the Tai Chi master has his student hold out 2 heavy buckets filled with water. For how long? The student asks beseechingly. For forever, the master replies. But my thoughts were not of the lacework of the design, or the necessity of having power lines, but oddly, a scene from an old Japanese monster movie, in which these towers, and their power lines, always stood in the way of the monster's advance on the Japanese metropolis, or Tokyo. And it made me wonder about the post-war years in Japan and the foreign occupation and the transition from an old world to a new one, filled with unknown dangers and technologies and systems beyond experience or understanding, and the shadow of nuclear horrors, and whether the towers and wires and the wall they created were a savior or a curse. Did they view modernization as a benevolent future, or was technology itself a monster, scouring the landscape forced upon them from without? All I really remember, besides the names of my favorite monsters and the persistent question of why the destroyed buildings of Tokyo never had any furniture in them, was that any construct created by mankind, any wall, weapon, or machination, can only, at best, delay the inevitable. It was not the towers themselves that were the metaphor of interest, but the wires in between, the arcs, and the knowledge that all stories follow an arc of some kind. And that arc, that curvature, will have an inevitable result. The real monster in these stories, the monster in all stories, is not the straightness of the heroine or the crookedness of the villain, but the simple, inescapable geometry of the plot, which must do what it must do in order to be a story, in order to have the pieces we deem a story needs to have be worth the time to tell and to see and to hear. In that sense, we should always know that the shape, the basic geometry of our monsters is of our own making, just as the true demons in any horror story are our own fears. Thank you for listening. Once again, thank you to Kai. Look forward to everybody's contributions.